Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. A leaked Supreme Court decision that would overturn the landmark abortion case Roe v. Wade has some concern what other rights could be in jeopardy.
A right-wing Supreme Court majority willing to do this seems capable of potentially doing anything.
Abortion rights groups are rallying against the impending decision. The war in Ukraine is impacting local farmers as bans of Russian oil and gas are causing fertilizer prices to soar.
Depending on where you're at in the Midwest, anhydrous ammonia prices have gone up 300 to 500%.
And that's led to farmers planting more soybeans than corn this year. And college officials are trying to reverse a trend of enrollments dropping at higher education institutions around the state. Those stories plus the latest news headlines right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, a leaked draft of a Supreme Court decision overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade case means abortion could become illegal in various states in the U.S. The decision has sent shock waves around the country and has some wondering if other rights could be in jeopardy. Pat Bean reports.
If the Supreme Court's final decision mirrors that of the leaked draft, it could end a nearly 50-year nationwide guarantee of a woman's right to an abortion.
This is an earthquake. I mean, never before has the Supreme Court rolled back an individual personal right under the Constitution like this that people had been accustomed to for almost 50 years.
The decision would allow each state to decide the legality of abortions. Sanders says states such as Texas and Oklahoma likely would eliminate abortion altogether. He believes Indiana could follow their lead. Several hundred protesters, mostly pro-choice, rallied around Monument Circle in Indianapolis Wednesday evening.
Making sure that they know that we expect to be protected and we expect for them to do their jobs as it relates to us, so that at the state level we need them to take control because the federal level hasn't.
Sanders says the reversal of Roe could lead states to file cases which could overturn other current rights, such as same-sex marriage, which only became a right under the Constitution in 2015.
I would have said a year ago that I didn't think that was feasible. Now I'm not so sure. A right-wing Supreme Court majority willing to do this seems capable of potentially doing anything.
Because what was leaked was a draft opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, it will likely undergo changes as other justices weigh in.
I still would urge caution. Justice Alito is a maximalist, and it makes sense that he was going to swing for the fences in writing this. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what the opinion would have looked like when it was finally issued. Now we'll see.
The court's final decision is not expected until June. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Bean.
We're joined now by Brandon Smith, who covers the State House for Indiana Public Broadcasting, for what the decision could mean for Indiana. Brandon, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Joe.
So, do you expect lawmakers to call for a special session to introduce abortion legislation after the Supreme Court releases its decision?
Lawmakers can't call for a special session themselves. Only the governor can call a special session, but they've already asked him to do that. They sent a letter. 100 Republicans out of 110 in the General Assembly sent a letter to the governor in March saying if and when the Supreme Court rules on abortion, as they are expected to do in a couple months or about a month from now, they would like the governor to call a special session so they can enact legislation.
Now, some states could ban abortion altogether and even criminalize it. So how far do you think Indiana legislators will go? What have you heard?
I think legislative leaders aren't saying exactly what they'll swing for at this point. They're waiting for the final decision from the Supreme Court, but I would expect them to go as far as the Supreme Court lets them in banning abortion.
I know we're going to hear from Governor Holcomb in just a bit, but do you expect him to sign anything that comes across his desk?
My personal opinion is that he would, although right now he's not saying much. He's only saying that he wants to wait for what the Supreme Court's final decision says. And when pressed about his personal opinion on abortion, he said this.
I have a hard time being the person that's part of taking of a life. And I'll review the decision that has impact on that.
You know, Brendan, there's thinking that other rights, such as same-sex marriage, could be the next target by the right. So where does the Indiana GOP stand on that issue?
I think many legislators would try to re-ban same-sex marriage in Indiana. The question is what legislative leaders would like to do. I think the business community would certainly have something to say about that, and it's unclear how far they'd go.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, images coming from the Ukraine are both unprecedented and heartbreaking. But as the U.S. and other countries punish Russia with sanctions, some of the impacts are being felt across the Atlantic here at home. Brock Turner reports.
John Carnahan is eagerly awaiting a string of dry days to get his crop in the ground. The cost of his inputs are more this year, in part because of inflation and broader economic factors, but also because of the war in Ukraine. Things like fuel, fertilizers, and herbicides are some of the costliest investments year to year in agriculture. A report last month from the United States Department of Agriculture estimates margins will be tighter this year. That's something Carnahan knows well.
Total farm income will be reduced over what it was last year, so the margin's just a lot tighter.
After a string of good years, this year appears different. One of the single largest line items for Carnahan and other farmers is nitrogen, which is critical for corn.
We purchased that back in the fall, so we actually increased our corn acres here on our farm. Some people thought that the price was too high for some of those inputs, so they may have chosen to switch to soybeans, which require less inputs.
That's not just anecdotal evidence. According to planting intention reports, Carnahan is an anomaly among Hoosier farmers.
It looks like Indiana, from the intentions that came out the 1st of March, we're going to plant about 300,000 less corn acres and 300,000 more soybean acres. And we're off to a pretty slow start.
From Silver's perspective, there's a clear explanation.
We're seeing historic fertilizer prices, NP and K, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. You know, some of them at all-time highs, never seen them this high.
The war's impact on these areas might be obscure, but it takes significant amounts of fuel to produce those fertilizers. Bob White, the director of national government relations at the Indiana Farm Bureau, says tighter global supply, as much of Europe shuns Russian oil imports, paired with increased demand, has pushed the price of LP gas higher. That's having a significant impact on fertilizers farmers rely on.
Depending on where you're at in the Midwest, anhydrous ammonia prices have gone up 300 to 500%. So there's a huge increase in the nitrogen.
Carnahan and many other farmers pre-purchase most of their inputs before the growing season begins. That's allowed him to plant more corn this year, but White worries if the conflict drags on, problems could persist.
Looking out a year from now, or into late, let's say December, early next year, where's those fertilizer prices going to be? Are we going to have plenty of it?
But if the destruction from Russia continues, other countries could have problems securing grain and other commodities from Ukraine. Grain exports from there are expected to plummet this year.
We know a lot of the export infrastructure is receiving heavy damage along the ocean shipping ports. It takes time to rebuild that kind of infrastructure, so that will certainly be impacting Ukraine's ability to export going forward, even if this conflict were resolved today.
While experts say the U.S. does not depend on large quantities of grain from the Ukraine, other countries aren't as fortunate. But it is unlikely you'll see grain from Indiana on barges heading there.
We do export some corn to the global market, but Indiana's share of the global export market is pretty small. Same is true of soybeans. Indiana's soybean crop is used primarily here in Indiana.
Experts say because of that, the food supply here at home is likely secure, assuming there aren't significant weather events. That's a different story from what farmers are facing in Ukraine.
The farmers, they're wearing bulletproof vests and ballistic helmets as they're on their tractors trying to get their spring wheat crop and corn crop planted, dodging bullets, missiles, aerial attacks.
Reports say Russia has pillaged tractor dealerships, grain storage facilities, and has plans to destroy Ukrainian crops.
If you're worried about you don't have this choice or that choice, that's a lot different than are there bombs going off in the backyard or missiles landing. So that kind of puts it in perspective.
Everyone interviewed agrees higher prices and limited supplies are a small and worthwhile price to pay, a world away from the devastating loss of life occurring in the Ukraine. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
Well, Erin Houchin defeated a crowded field of Republican candidates Tuesday to pave her way toward the November election in Indiana's 9th congressional district. Houchin is a former state senator from Seymour. She'll face Democrat Matt Fife, a teacher at Bloomington High School North, in the fall. Houchin touts herself as pro-President Trump.
I believe his policies were good for America, and we were certainly better under President Trump than we have been under the Biden administration.
Republican Trey Hollingsworth has held the seat since 2017, but decided not to run for re-election this year. In another closely watched race in southern Indiana, Republican incumbent Bruce Borders held off a challenge by Jeff Ellington in District 45. Ellington is currently the representative in District 62, but redistricting led to overlap of the two districts.
I think he was just simply, carpetbagging, looking for friendlier political turf than what he might have experienced in District 62.
As of now, Borders will be unopposed in this fall's general election on November 8th. Well, graduate student workers at IU voted to extend their strike through graduation weekend and into next week. A university spokesperson said IU will be putting together a task force to implement changes heading into the fall semester. But PhD candidate Nora Weber says a task force endorsed by the university in 2019 to address similar issues was ineffective.
That task force came up with clear recommendations. The task force outlined specific ways in which IU is falling behind, and then the university refused to take any meaningful action.
The Graduate Student Coalition will vote Sunday on next steps and whether to continue the strike into the summer. Bloomington City Council unanimously approved a 0.969 increase to Monroe County's local income tax rate Wednesday night. The 51% increase raises the lit to 2.035%. Bloomington Mayor John Hamilton originally proposed an increase of 0.855 points.
But sometimes there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. And this is the classic example. All of us have given up something that we felt very strongly about in this process.
Under the adopted increase, the average household would pay about $286 in additional taxes. The increase will generate about $14.5 million in annual revenue for Bloomington. The new rate will take effect October 1st. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. College enrollments have decreased 6% over the past 5 years, and officials are trying to reverse that trend. And a woman from Terre Haute will be running her 100th half marathon at this weekend's Indy Mini Marathon. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Stay close to Indiana Newsdesk as we trace education issues all the way from the Capitol to your child's classroom. So many topics that arise each year in the State House affect what happens every day in the schoolhouse. The WTIU News Team is committed to helping you stay up to date with the issues that affect your family's future. Keep yourself informed. Tune in to Indiana Newsdesk, your source for regional and state in-depth news.
Welcome to Amanpour on PBS. I'm Christiane Amanpour in London, giving you the global view. I've covered the world for nearly 3 decades, and I'm dedicated to bringing you all the facts. Please join me for conversations with newsmakers, world leaders.
Good to be with you, Christiane.
Artists and writers, the people who define, change, and challenge our world. That's Amanpour on PBS.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Earlier spring temperatures and longer summers are making seasonal allergies worse in Indiana and across the country. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Rebecca Thiel reports that's according to the independent researching and reporting collaboration Climate Central.
On average, the Indiana cities studied had 8 more days above freezing last year than they did in 1970. But that doesn't just make the allergy season last longer, it makes it more intense. Melissa Whitholm is the Associate Director and Regional Climatologist with the Midwestern Regional Climate Center. She says excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere not only drives climate change, it can boost the growth of sneezy plants like ragweed and grasses.
You grow a plant in a warmer, more carbon dioxide-rich environment, and they're just going to get bigger. They're just going to produce more pollen.
Pollen can also trigger an asthma attack for more than half of asthma sufferers in the U.S. Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous residents who are disproportionately affected by asthma are especially vulnerable, as are lower-income residents who may not be able to afford allergy medication.
If you stop taking the medications, the inflammation that leads to asthma can return relatively quickly. So having access and having the support to get that access is really very important.
For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
Whitholm says curbing carbon emissions from things like cars and power plants will help allergies long term, but she says we're likely to see worse allergy seasons in the next few decades. Well, a 2021 report from the Commission on Higher Education says Indiana's college attendance rates dropped 6 percentage points in the last 5 years, with sharp declines happening in the last 2 years. As Benta Boutier reports, educators across the state are trying to understand the downward trends as another class of high school seniors prepare to graduate.
High school students and college recruiters mingle in Martinsville High School's gymnasium for a college and career fair. Some students, such as high school senior Olivia Nikoloff from Franklin Community High School, have revised their plans since the pandemic. Originally, she thought she'd get a 4-year degree on a college campus. She got a job at Starbucks in high school and now plans to take the company up on its offer to pay for her to go to Arizona State University, where she'll attend online.
And I feel like for students like me who don't really want to spend that much money on college, or they don't really know what they want to do yet, this could be a great opportunity for them to figure out what they want to do.
The hesitancy is something Indiana education leaders have observed in their data, and it concerns them. Former Commissioner on Higher Education Teresa Lebers said in her final address before stepping down that the biggest drops have been observed in minority students, graduates enrolling in 2-year degrees, and low-income groups.
That's where we've seen the drop in enrollments. It's more with students who've been probably more adversely impacted by COVID.
She says in the past, it was people with high school diplomas who fueled Indiana's economy. But while the number of high school graduates pursuing higher education is dropping, the number of Indiana jobs that require a college degree rose by 7% in the last year. And that's been on Carl Wagner's mind when he organizes career and college events. He counsels high school students in Martinsville about their graduation plans. He doesn't necessarily think college is the right choice for every student, but wants kids to be aware they have options.
If you're going to college, you ought to know why you're going. It doesn't mean you have to have a major picked out, but you ought to know that whatever you're going to do will take a college degree.
He sees schools trying to make efforts to bring students in, but isn't sure it will be enough to make enrollment tick back up. Indiana State University's Vice Provost for Enrollment, Jason Trainer, agrees with Wagner. Their enrollment is down more than 11% from last spring. He says ISU is cautiously optimistic, but it's hard to predict what the fall will look like.
I think we believe there'll be some sort of recovery. I think most of us would have an expectation that it's probably not going to actually get back to a pre-COVID type of numbers. And some of that is just based on the workforce. There's a lot more incentives and a lot more push for students to go directly into the workforce. We have to kind of to understand that and to make a stronger case in terms of their long-term career and long-term earning potential.
He says ISU is responding to students' shifting needs, trying to keep tuition affordable by guaranteeing that Pell Grant eligible students with a 3.0 GPA have any gaps in tuition covered, and providing every ISU student with $3,000 towards an out-of-classroom experience. He added ISU is having to compete with larger state schools that have lowered test score requirements for admission. Nikoloff wants to major in marketing and management at Arizona State.
I feel like that'll really help with growing more in Starbucks, and something that's always interested me, so I'm excited to start that.
According to the National Clearinghouse Research Center, higher education enrollment fell 2.7% in the fall of 2021, following a drop of 2.5% the year before. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Benta Boutier.
It's graduation weekend on IU's Bloomington campus. More than 21,000 graduates will receive their diplomas there and at IU's regional campuses this year. This weekend will mark the 46th running of the 500 Festival Mini Marathon in Indianapolis. For one Terre Haute woman, the 13.1-mile journey from downtown to the Speedway will be a milestone. Callie Lichter has this story.
Susan Skelton has done this route many times. She ran the Indy Mini in 1997, 1998, and 1999. She thought 99 would be her final race, but on Saturday, she's lacing up her shoes one more time. Why?
Well, the Indy Mini was my first one. Let's see if we can make it number 100.
When the Terre Haute native crosses the finish line Saturday, it will mark her 100th Indiana half marathon. Inspired by her husband training for a triathlon in the late 2000s, Skelton decided to get back into running.
And I kind of just researched half marathons and totally fell down the rabbit hole of everything that's out there.
By 2014, Skelton ran her 50th all-time half marathon in Fishers. All-time, the runner has completed over 314 timed races, with distances from 1 mile to a full marathon.
I would say it definitely can be addiction.
It wasn't until 2018 that Skelton realized the number of half marathons she's completed in Indiana. Her original goal was to complete the 50 States Challenge, or the completion of one half marathon in each of the 50 states. After checking her stats over and over, the runner realized that she was at 92 half marathons in Indiana.
But there's something magical about that 100. You know, when you think you get a 100 on a test, that's a perfect.
For her, the Indy Mini has all the best parts of a race. From the aid stations and the fans to the cloggers and the course, Skelton loves how visually stimulating it is.
And before you know it, you're approaching that last 3/4 of the mile, headed back into downtown, and you've got those checkered flags just lined. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
This will be her third race back after shoulder surgery last year, so Skelton will be walking the course.
Run when you can. If you can't run, walk when you can, and if you can't walk, crawl. But just keep forward motion until you get it done.
Skelton and her black and white checkered tutu are warmed up and ready for the race. As of now, she thinks it will be her last Indiana half marathon until the 50th running of the race in 2026. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Callie Lichter.
Skelton is hoping to complete her 50-state half marathon challenge on her 60th birthday in 2025. Well, in Indiana, around 600 horses are bred to be trained for racing every year. Not all of them will make it to the track, but at least that many horses will need to be retired to make room for new racing horse. As Benta Boutier reports, one Indiana organization helps retired racehorses find new careers.
Because so many racehorses are retired each year, buyers can be picky and don't typically buy horses off the track that could incur extra costs. That's where the nonprofit Friends of Ferdinand comes in. It has locations in southern Indiana and Ohio where retired racehorses can be sent if they need a transition period. The one in Indiana, run by Brandon Fortner, focuses primarily on Western disciplines in trail riding. He helps rehabilitate horses, find them new careers and owners.
They see a lot and experience a lot at the track. So, I mean, some of it's just exposure to things outside, letting them go out in the pasture, be a horse.
Sarah Busbis, the president of Friends of Ferdinand, says anyone who wants to adopt with them has to meet the horse first.
They have personalities, they have likes, they have dislikes. Some of them are more tolerable than others, and so we want to match the rider to the horse and set everybody up for success.
Friends of Ferdinand will take a horse back if the adoption doesn't work out, but since 2005, only 5% of horses have been returned. Busbis says they take in roughly a dozen horses a year.
Our numbers are really dictated by the needs of the horses that we get.
Horses race until about the age of 7, but can live up to 30 years. But without Fortner and Busbis, these horses could end up in unsuccessful homes, retired to a pasture, or exported for slaughter.
These horses have a really good work ethic, really good mindset. They want to do something.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Benta Boutier.
It's a big weekend for horse racing in Louisville with the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby kicking off the Triple Crown season on Saturday. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.